Spot gold falls 2%.
You guys hear me? Hello, hello. Back to our 45-55. Cannot get away from this level. We love it. Crazy. Kind of see this 55 to 52 as the low until it becomes resistance. You have to be very careful down here. So keep that in mind. This is where we've bounced previously a few times on every attempt. We broke down of our range, so that's important from yesterday, or from Friday, but I really need to see how buyers react down into this 55-52 area. Until this becomes like we see a push below and then a very strong rejection of this blue, then we can look for more downside. But until then, you kind of want to just watch to see if there's any sort of active buyer here who is willing to participate off this level. It should be pretty, like, the delay should be very minimal, so test it with me. But I have it on ultra low latency. Hopefully it doesn't affect the quality. It's just an echo. You might need to mute me on Discord. Am I echoing for everyone, or is it just Gav who didn't mute me on Discord? Okay, so you need to mute me in. Is it echoing for anyone who doesn't have me muted? Okay, cool. Or you can mute the YouTube video, right? Either one. It just figure out which one has. If the latency is really low, right? You probably want to mute the YouTube and then have the Discord running just in case there is any lag. But yeah, so let's see what happens as we come down into this. I have no clue where we're headed after this 55 test, but I am interested in this area. Let me redo some levels here in a second. I think if you look at it like this, you can. I really don't have an interest up until 62, where that previous buyer was, and we play a bit of a node. But I'm really, again, not too interested in a new trade on either until we either break above 62s and then hold that as supportive on ES, or push below this 55 to 52 and then reoffer into it as resistance for a continuation down. That's kind of all I'm looking at as of right now. Let me look at some bigger picture stuff, but for the current area, this has historically been an area where buying has taken place. Morning, Cass. What's the Russell doing?
Treasury 2-year yields rise 10 basis points on the day.
So let's see if a buyer steps in here at this like 55, 56 area. If not, then I'll be looking for a push down into 52s, but we really do want to see a base form. I think as RTY comes into this POC before the shift below at 63.4, this is always like a pretty good
US
sign.
stocks extend fall, S&P 500 down 1%.
Where we're looking for a bounce off of a previous buying volume node, right? Which are developing POC. This is where it was before the shift up. So as we come back into it, kind of get a mean reversion. We look for RTY to find a bottom, which can give the rest of the market a bottom as well, especially if NQ is into a pivot. Something to keep an eye on. Your first risk off, of course, is going to be into this 60.75 where we're seeing the seller, but I think you can probably take it up to 62. Okay. So our first like a real attempt at a bottoming, or like a buyer to be found. Still no confirmation as of yet, other than just where we are currently. Again, like this 56 to 52 area is an area where buyers have attempted in the past, and it has some potential. Just need NQ to show it wants to break out of this high here. So far, just kind of chopping around, but basing, not a bad thing. Would like to see the Russell be able to break this downtrend and get over 75s for confirmation, but we are at VWAP currently, so there is some potential here. Again, usually once the Russell can bottom out, it's a pretty good sign that the market, ES and Q can kind of follow up. Alright, Russell coming up into opening range high now. Very curious to see what happens here as we test the top of this range. Again, we bounced basically just the POC shift. All we were watching for is our reaction as we came down into this. We got our bid, came back up to the top of this range. What we're looking for is for the Russell to be able to push above, hold ORH, fill this LVN here, push, and then go for continuation. If we fail to break here, this is the top of the range, which will result in a sell, right? Push below, back into our VWAP. We're going to have to kind of build here for a little bit, and then that can lead back down to the bottom of this range again. So we need to just see our reaction as we come up into this, and our reaction at this 55. If the Russell rejects at the top of this range where we are, right, then we can look for more downside on ES and NQ. But I'm really only interested in this like 55, 56 as a bid, or a look below, and then a push down into 52s, and then see if a buyer steps in there. If we don't see a buyer at 52s and we get that look below that, then we're probably going to be in a trend continuation to the downside for the rest of the day, I would say, if we don't spot a buyer soon. I am streaming on YouTube, my friend. I don't know what the issue is with Discord streams, but YouTube streams work flawlessly. So we're gonna stick with these. I don't know why I drew it like this. This is our view up test, so this is your look for a higher low on R2Y. You need it to bounce here, or we'll probably be coming back down to the low of this range. And that'll give you that 52 on ES, and that 715 on NQ.
So Goldman Sachs favors options to counter excessive rate cut pricing. So financial markets have become far too optimistic about how much the Federal Reserve will cut interest rates next year, giving option traders a chance to profit from betting against that view, according to Goldman Sachs.
Surf is kindly streaming in Discord as well if you want to follow along with the charts and you don't want to be on YouTube. There's that move down on the Russell from the top of our range back down to the bottom of our range. So as we approach this, I going to be looking to see if this 63.5 becomes our pivot, right? Do we bounce here again? Or on a look below, does this become resistance for continuation back down to their day open? It's kind of the idea right now is, can the Russell basically just rotate in this box as ES and NQ try to bottom out? Or are we going to need to come down quite a bit further? If we break this low on an RTY at the 63.5 and we don't see this 52 to 56 area become supportive, right, build out and buyers kind of defend it, I'm really not interested in much until we get down to like 36 on ES, personally. So it's going to be something to pay attention to if we don't bottom out here. I need to just add RTY to this one and then delete this other chart layout. No longer serves a purpose. I need sellers to get out of the way of this 56. See if 35s can hold a bid on NQ. I need to see, again, a recovery of 56s on ES. Russell still real no acceleration at the low of this range. Actually, let's just add it now. Let me just get it out of the way. Let me do these levels real quick.
Germany's Chancellor Scholz says coalition talks on the budget crisis have been very constructive. And Scholz says, I'm very optimistic we'll find a budget solution soon.
All right. Can you click save? Yeah. Sorry, man. There you go. Sorry, I'm just trying to like get this thing a little organized. I'm sick of flipping back between two. See if we can bid off this 56. Need the Russell to get back over this 69. Again, we bounced the low of the range, always a good sign, but we do need to get over the mid, or this will do what I have drawn in the path, which is basically a rejection of our mid, and our VWAP is resistance now that we are looking below. If we fail to recover this node, this is our current auction, right? And this is the distribution that we're trading in. So if we reject the mid, where the most volume is, right, at our POC, then we should be looking for a push down from the mid, a break of this current range or auction that we're currently trading in, and then value low, or this low pivot of this range, become resistance for continuation down, right? It's the same setup as on Friday. Either we continue to traverse this distribution, this range that we're in between this blue box, these two blue boxes, where we're looking for a push below, a reoffer, and a continuation down, or a push above, a rebid, and then a continuation out. Until that point, we can respect this low and this high until we see a seller step in with some aggression and then show their hand on a retest. Do we have any questions about that, or are we all on the same page at this point about how to trade the distribution? Okay. Yeah, I mean, and remember, like, how to trade and knowing when not to trade are the same thing, right? So, like, if you're uncomfortable trading in this range, understand that we're in the middle for the Russell, right? Right, yeah, that's part. That is a trade. Not being in a position is a trade. It's knowing when you should F off, right? So it's up to you. I mean, either you are putting this in as a potential low, right, and you're willing to put on a little bit of risk, this 52 to 56, or you're waiting for the Russell to find a low, right, and for some momentum to come back into the market. If we get below that 52, then I'll start to look for more downside. If we fail to get back over 62 on ES, then I'll look for this to kind of be our range. But for me personally, I'm willing to try down here as long as the Russell is bottoming out and we're holding like a 56 to 52 area on ES. But if this is just going to become a bear flag and then go for a continuation down, I'm really going to be interested in once we test below, get that look below 52s on ES, and then look for a strong reoffer for continuation down. It's just awkward trying to short here, like, because I either want it back up at our seller at 59, right, or I want it below and then I want to see a strong rejection of where these buyers are at this 54. Like trying to short here feels pretty awkward because we haven't gotten a pretty, like, a solid retest of either this seller above or on a push below, these buyers becoming offsides and then a seller stepping in to really aggressively push this down. So really your only options are either to try to play these higher lows for continuation back up to our seller, or wait for the push below and these buyers to be offsides. So I think, again, without a clear showing from either side, sometimes it's better to just chill. I'm risking off one into this 58.75
Fed bids
as the
for
Russell comes
6-month
back up
bills
to the high of
total
the range,
$1.3
and we
billion,
come up to
and
retest
Fed
the
bids
seller.
for 3-month bills total $1.4 billion.
There it is. So I'm gonna just risk off some, just in case we fail to break. But again, I'm just using the Russell low as our area where we start to look for buys. I've said I'm interested in this 56 to 52, so as long as we're holding that and the Russell is holding, then we can just trade the range and play it back up. Everything else is at our pivot. And as the Russell comes back up into the high, you want to be risking off, and then we're looking for acceptance back above VWAP. So we need to see this 60 to 62 now become supportive, or this will just be our seller reloading, right? This is what we were interested in. I look up into this. Now we need to see if this guy is willing to defend at the 60, or if we can come up to at least the 65 to 62 and build this out, right? It's kind of the idea here is, are we going to continue to trade in this range between these 2 points, or can we look above and then push up into the 63 to 65 area? And if we can, then we can retest the seller up here. But until that point, right, like only bids that we were looking at were the ones that were when we were at the low on the Russell. We are now back up at the high, so this is going to be a very important area on this retest, right, at the top of our range, to see if we get continuation or if this is going to reject and come back down. So I have taken off most of my risk. I have 2 contracts left. And now we look to see if we can break out or not. And this doesn't have to be crazy. The market looks like it's bottoming. It's worth an attempt. If it doesn't bottom there, right? And we look below and show like any sort of momentum, then we can exit the trade and reverse. But easy points in the meantime. Is Brian on Motive Wave now? Interesting.
So in 10 minutes time now, at the bottom of the hour, the US is due to sell $75 billion in a 3-month bill sale. So the prior high yield was 5.28%, prior bid to cover 2.87. The US is also due to sell $68 billion in a 6-month bill sale, prior high yield of 5.24%, prior bid to cover 3.01.
There it is. Russell back up into the high of the range. Can we break out, or is this it? Risking off one more on a yes until I see that Russell wants to go for any sort of any more continuation. No, I mean, I buy in 2 lots. Usually like 4. Most of the time I still buy in 1 lot size though, and then just scale in. Usually end up at like 4 is my size though. Two on scalps, 4 in ranges. Like for that low, I just was bidding into that 56 with the Russell coming into the low and just bought
So in
more
5 minutes
contracts.
time
So
now
now I
at
have
the
1
bottom of
left.
the hour, the US is due to sell
Break-even
$75 billion
stop.
in 3-month bills. Prior high yield 5.28%. Prior bid to cover 2.87. The US is also due to sell $68 billion in 6-month bills. Prior high yield of 5.24% and with a prior bid to cover of 3.01.
Yeah. Until we get above that, there's really not much else here. Need to see the Russell over ORH. There's that. Congrats, Roy. I don't know how much I'd put into that 0 rejection on Delta, but we did reject the seller and the pivot there and our node and the top of our range. This is your view up retest on Russell off of the rejection of the top of our range. Again, until we break out of this, it is what it is. We trade the profile. See if we can hold that view up. You need to see like a pretty strong look below 69 here. And then for this to become resistance, for push down. I mean, this is kind of where you expect some passive buying to be. Off of that rejection, we're looking for a higher low.
So shortly expecting the results of the 3 and 6 month bill auctions. I'll be leading with the 3 months high yield. So OPEC Plus cuts can absolutely go beyond Q1, according to Saudi Energy Minister. So again, Saudi Energy Minister coming through on the wires here. Sees signs that oil demand is improving. Trust Russia and the UAE complying with pledges. Energy Minister speaking in an interview with the Newswires TV here says cuts will address the inventory buildup in Q1. But again, OPEC Plus cuts can quote unquote absolutely go beyond Q1, according to Saudi Energy Minister, seeing some strength in WTI crude here.
They look fine. Euro close. Let's see if we can get out of here. Just Russell building at the top of our range, trying to hold view up still. Really no solid bid stepping in as of yet. Still at our seller at this 60.75. Ideally, NQ is going to continue to be able to hold these higher lows and channel up. We just left a pretty nice LVN below us, though, that we can fill if buyers don't aggressively step up here to hold this high.
So seeing the results of the 3 month bill auction here, high rate 5.25%, 5.25% with a bid to cover of 2.98, 2.98. For the 6 month, high rate of 5.19%, 5.19%. And the 6 month bid to cover 2.66, 2.66.
Yeah, so again, you guys should be like mostly risked off until we can get back over the 62 to 65. There's really not much to talk about until we see this reclaimed. I'm gonna just flip over to a 15-minute real quick. There's a previous buyer from Friday. This is where we were buying for like most of the session, the 62 to 65 area, over and over again. And then down at this 58 to 60, there's another area that we were buying quite a bit. And then this is where we are buying today at this 52 to 56. And these were all areas that we've bought over and over again the last couple weeks. But like this area is important because this is where we've seen buyers attempt before. But the problem is that we have this buying pivot that we were playing off of, what, 2 weeks ago, is now resistance, right? This is our buyer that was here before, and now we are running into it as our seller. So until I see a push above this looks like this can kind of just build out, and we can just see this as seller acceptance. Until we push back above, I need to see a reclaim of this blue zone. Or this is just going to be where sellers try to defend so that these buyers are offsides. Which is why we've had it labeled as seller here. And why it's RPT. But just like keep that in mind that we need to see a push above this area for me to really care about any sort of like extended upside action. Which would look something like this, where we kind of build in the 62 to 65 and then show buying support and the reclaim of it. If not, this will be where our sellers try to defend as we push into it, and that'll just lead us down again, right? That's going to create that bear flagging kind of structure. You can see that we're just trying to make out these like higher lows. Right, but when we get a failure to push back over a previous buying area, right, what we're doing is we're creating and filling out this structure. But that results in that like very classic TA pattern where we then see that failure in the look below. So then we can just play off of this node and then look for sellers to basically break these higher lows that we're seeing into this basing, and then look for that reoffer. And then we can look for a push below. That'll let you know if we're going to see like more downside. Is this look below this node? I'm going to delete a lot of this. I just want to like illustrate that we're not safe until we get back and reclaim this buyer. That is important. This is why I was interested in this low, right? This edge low, because I can at least play it back up to this buyer, this previous buyer, with pretty low risk. But now, if you're trying to like buy here, you're buying into resistance, basically. Like the options are either wait for a push and relief back over this 62 to 65 and a clear showing of a bid, or you're kind of looking to see if a seller is going to reload and you can play with them back to the downside for a range trade. As of right now, your range is basically this green box to this blue box, right? That's the range until we break above or below this area. So where does it make sense to put risk on if we have determined that this is a potential buy and this is a potential sell? Does it make sense to put risk on here? Well, like maybe you can capture a couple points if we maintain higher lows, but is it worth, right? You're gonna have to continue to ask yourself that, especially with like where the Russell is trading. Still maintaining VWAP in the middle of this range, but we need to see the break and hold above for that continuation, or it's going to be a very slow chop. I can't let go of this tool. Oh, this platform, man. I actually can't click off of this. Delete. Okay, there we go. Sometimes. Yeah, I mean, I personally don't really care what we do. We caught the low. First thing I said when I got on was 56.52. That's what I'm looking at. Now it's just looking for continuation on a runner and seeing if I can add more, or if we get another short entry and then a push down. Either way, it doesn't matter. I mean, if you did, I don't know what to tell you. I explained the range on RTY, I explained the low. I don't know. Said there wasn't a short until we pushed below 52s. Now we're getting into that area again where we need to see that 62 to 65 be a very strong rejection point. Or this is just going to bounce again. If I do it like this, maybe that's helpful. Our two different auctions. Alright, this is your next little risk off as we come up into this seller. Need to see a strong kind of hold here would be ideal. A flag to form. And buyer stepping in to push us up and over this. Or this will come back down to retest this 58. So let's see what happens as we come up into this area. Again, you kind of are expecting a flagging structure to take place here, and then we'll get a direction decision either way. Russell is also at the high of the range at ORH. And we are at the mid of our FEG on NQ 15 minute. I have one contract left from 56. But even that, right? Like, that's $400. All of a sudden, we were able to capture, like, 10 points out of a range that no one wanted to trade. Watch this 810 on NQ as we come into it, as well as this 68.25 to 69 where we know our seller is located. Again, you should be expecting someone to try to be offloading some here. And then we look for a flag as we come into the reoffer, and then see if buyers have strength to push us back over. But there's very clearly a seller here on the shift of the POC downward. You want to be moving up stops, and remember, like I drew out the node. We know we have a node above us, and that we're testing it on the low, right? So we need to get above it, and then make the reclaim of that 74 for any sort of like bullish upside. Until that point, you have to kind of respect this as our potential high, sell-wise. The things that I do like though is that this is the first time the Russell has been able to break out of this range. So if we can get a really nice push above and then hold of this opening range high, there's an argument that we could call this the low, and that the Russell could continue and push out. But we need to see it first, right? We need to see that push above and then that hold, which is what we have drawn here for me to believe in this. Just gonna shift this entire thing over because nothing's changed. Okay, we're at our seller here on ES. And at our 810 pivot on NQ. Let's see what happens. Again, I think if you're in from 56s, 58s, 62 hold, any of those, you want to be moving up your stop as we approach this, or looking for potential to reverse this trade if we fail to break out, right? This is where you'd expect shorts to be defending or reloading. So we're going to be, so if you're like already, if you're not in a long and you're looking for a short, right, you're looking for a break of these higher lows. And we're looking for a previous buying level to become a selling level, right, on a reoffer for a continuation down. Or you're looking to play off of this edge. It's up to you, right? Like, I don't know what your risk profile looks like. But, like, personally, if I was looking for a short, I'd either be looking to play off of this 68 to 71 as my risk, right? And I'd be looking to short with all of the other sellers who are going to be located in here. Or I'd be looking to look for the push below, right, on this weakness in this flag. If this buyer doesn't show their hand here, we're looking for a look below, reoffer, and then a rejection and push down, right? Either you want to be playing the breakdown of these clear higher lows and the retest, or you want to be playing off of the edge where we have a known seller. Those are your two areas where I'd be willing to put risk on as a short. You can see we're getting that sell and that potential flag to happen here right where we thought it would. Now you're just looking to see if buyers are willing to defend it. If they aren't, right, we know why, where we're going. We're at that selling node above. So you really need to see a strong bid to now hold this blue box. And for the Russell to be able to hold outside of this range. So it's going to be a battle for these 10s on NQ. And battle at the 65 to 68 on ES, right? Sellers stacking at 68s. Buyer trying to defend at 65s on ES. Ideally, you want to see 810 stay bid on NQ. Push up to 25s. On a look below, right, we're going to see if 810 can go offer. And then if that happens, you're looking for weakness into like 804, and that'll give you a push down into 95s. That's basically the idea, right? Where, if I can show you based off of this node why that makes sense. So we know that there's just this is the trade. 810 is a known pivot. 825 is a known sell into the FEG high. So we're looking for a bid where the sell was, right? This is why we could expect that 810 to try to be defended. And then you look for risk off into this 825 to 27, where we know shorts are potentially going to be, right? It's our FEG fill. So this will be your next real test is off of this. But if we fail at this 10s, right? Like if we didn't get that bid right here and we push below, we would then be looking to see what happened at this buyer here. If this buyer became our offer, we'd be looking for a pushback down into value at this 95 where this previous buy was. Let's see what happens here into this NQ supply high. Do you see how we could predict this flag here and look for the pop on ES? And now we're pushing into our PT at 71s on ES. Do you see how we could predict this on the Russell as well? Looking for the hold of ORH and then the push into the same area. Like these things play together and we can just trade from one buying node to one selling node over and over and over again. I'm out of that 56 to 71 now. That's the full trade for me. I'll look for continuation if we can build above, just as we were talking about. I need to see this red node that I've drawn out basically become supportive for upside. We see how we could find that sell, get your push down. Now all we're looking for is for the Russell to be able to hold ORH, basically. We know this is where our seller is. It's going to take quite a bit of effort to be able to push above and then kind of bid here. So we kind of expect this to just be a solid risk off until we can find acceptance above on the high of this node, right? Because how do we play this? Either on this look into here, we are now ranging in here, right, off of this distribution, or we are going to reject this distribution and then push down, or we are looking for on the hold, right, of this low, right, basically like this 68 area. If we can hold here, we can then look for a push up into the mid, test of the highs, and then we can either play it all the way back down, or we can then flag here, right, at the highs, and then look for continuation up. That's basically how this works. We're just playing the previous range. So we'll have to see what happens. You need to see a pretty strong buy come out of NQ because this is your first lower high to kind of step into from our opening range low. So you're going to need to see a pretty strong bid step in and push over this 25 and then defend that level, or all of a sudden we have the start of a seller all of a sudden holding lower highs. And like if we push below this 20 level and that becomes your reoffer, then you can fill this if like this 20 becomes the reoffer on a look below, then you can fill back down to 10s pretty quickly. Hmm, 74. If you can get over 71, you need to see acceptance. Again, it's just the node, right? Like, we're oscillating. Like, it's just this is our range. We're pushing up into, like, that 76 to 78. That's your high until, kind of proven otherwise. If we can get over the 71, awesome. All you're looking for is that to become supportive. Until that, like, we're at resistance here. Like, this is kind of like what you're looking for, bull-wise. Just a push and hold over 71s. Just like, look left though. Look though, we need to show that that seller's gone. Don't get greedy. Here's your 20 test on NQ we were just talking about. God, I hate when it does that shit. Appreciate it, Tradegator. I'll be live 3 days a week. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Anyone want to run depths? Yeah, man, I got you. $90K points? It's a pretty solid, I don't know if Darian's in chat. A solid sign-up bonus. So again, just to reiterate for those that are confused, like I'm risked off long here. I'm looking for either a potential short, right, from this being supply, or a push back over 74s and then a bid. I need to see like 71 to 74 show as a supportive, like a buyer to show value there, because this is our selling node. There's really not much else here for me personally. There might be a bit more upside action, sure, whatever. But like I need to see us push above and then show this node, right, as supportive. So on a look above, we then are holding the mid to the high and kind of flagging it out for more upside, or I kind of am just looking at this as like choppy, slow grind price movement until we either see buyers become exhausted, right, and like sellers basically just absorb here, or we get a really strong push above and then we can look for more upside targets. But like we've gotten to a point where I need to see some acceleration for me to be excited about the trade. We were able to capture a decent amount of points, right, from 56 up into this level, into the 71. But now for me, it's just like a waiting game. Looking at this weakness on NQ, right, with this opening range low. If we can recover opening range low, then it's a very classic play of looking for this as our rebid for a push up into first target VWAP, second target opening range mid, and our Globex low. So if we can hold and recover, right, what we're looking for is a rebid off of opening range low, push into VWAP, hold of higher lows, and then kind of a continuation up into opening range mid, and then probably a push down. That would be like your bullish look, something like this. But until that happens, I'm looking at this as us rejecting our opening range low from this morning, which is not good for bullish bias, you know. If we lose 20s, then you look for a pushback down to this 10 to 04 area where we have this node drawn out. But until then, you've got this really tight chopping range where buyers and sellers are just going to be looking to see, basically you're looking to see if buyers exhaust here, right? And if sellers have enough ammo to hold us at this level, and then which absorption kind of plays out. Are buyers able to absorb all these sellers and then push price up? Or are sellers able to absorb these buyers here and then trap all of these longs for continuation down? I'm not sure as of yet. All I do know is that this is our pivot. And I'm not very interested unless we reoffer below these 20s or push above opening range low and then rebid off of that 32, right? Like these are the levels of interest for me. Until then, you get this really choppy range trade, which I cannot be bothered to be in a trade for. How's everyone doing this morning? You guys able to follow along? Are we doing okay? Do I need to be clearer on anything? How's everyone doing in Discord? Yeah, no trades, all good. I'm not to be bothered with the chop action was clear enough. True. Yeah, I mean, if you didn't catch the low, right, that edge low from 56s, it just feels really awkward trying to buy here. There'll be a better opportunity. You need to see like this again, like the 71 to 74 area becomes supportive, and then you can look for a continuation up into like 80 to 84. But until then, just kind of feels bad. Top of our range on NQ. Again, you need to see opening range low, that 32. Basically 33, actually. I need to... what is it? Yeah, 32 is right. Yeah. We're looking for this look above, and then a really strong bid to defend this level now, which is what we have drawn here on this look above. We want to then see this bid and hold off of rejection from VWAP or this 37. We're basically just looking for this area to build out. That's all. We have just shown we just developed the range here, right? Which is now a supportive node because we're looking above. So the ideal look now, right, is for this to now hold this as support, and then we can look for a push up. That's the idea. So there's your rejection of VWAP on NQ from this range breakout. Now we're looking to see if ORL can hold as supportive, and then if we can get above VWAP and bid, then there's potential for that move up into opening range mid at 54.50. And for ES, again, you're just looking for this 74 to 71 area to kind of become supportive. And if we can make this the high of this node supportive, then you can look for more upside. Great job, Cass. If I click, okay, yeah. So I can change this to be 1. I need to start doing this more often so I can show you guys the nodes that I draw out. So it probably makes a lot more sense if I show it like this, of why I'm looking for this to now be supportive on this retest. And like why I care so much about that 20 level, right? Because if we fall below it, then we're rejecting this node, and then we're looking for a fill of this LVN for a push down. Oops. Let's see. And there's your rebid off of ORL. Need to get over 37s. We've been able to basically call out every move on NQ, though. We got this pop, the rebid off of the 10s, the push up into supply, then called the chop. Now we're just looking for either a breakout retest where we find acceptance above this range, or a look below and a push back down into our buy-side liquidity down at 804 to 810, right? There's not much else here. We're either looking for this flag to develop, or a look below, and that's that. But everything else has been like pretty much to the T. We were struggling last night in OPR, Jesus. No, not the games with you. After we kept playing. Just like no team. Felt terrible. What? You really don't want to see this go lower than this 27. If you want this to flag for continuation, or we're just back into the range, you don't want to see that if you're bullish. Again, we're just playing this as a node hold if you're long, right? This is the mid to high of this node that I've drawn. So you'd want it to bounce here and then recover opening range low. If sellers continue to hold this down, then it's just right back down to the bottom of the range.
Just taking a look at the markets, the Dixie currently up at 0.52% on the session.
Huge. If you bought this node hold at 27s, this is your first risk off into 37.75. This is your seller reoffer. Ideally, again, you're looking for a push overview up here. Or this is just going to sell again right at this guy at this 37-ish area. Understanding like this node hold is so important. Hopefully you guys understood this, right? Where you can just go over this again, but it's exactly what I was just talking about, which is we came up into this supply here, right? We then built this out, so we now know that there's a buyer that's present here, and we now have a node to play off of. And what are we looking for on a push and hold over the high of our node, our structure that we've built? Well, we're looking for the mid to the high to now be supportive. We want to see buyers step in and then build off of this and then push out. That's always going to be the key on any sort of like look above. We want to see these buyers still showing their hand here. And so if we can like easily identify and draw out that node and understand what we're looking for to play out, all of a sudden we have a really nice re-entry, or an idea of like, oh, I need to be risked off short here from this high because I know that this is where buyers are going to be present if they are still willing to buy here, right? And that gives you a really nice push up, and you can then not be in the chop and have a really nice re-entry that will have momentum on it. And here's your PT into this 49. That's your POC. So we're looking for opening range mid here, and ideally we now can hold VWAP on retest and then push up into this 54. Does this concept make sense to you guys of why this mid to high is so important and what we're looking for with the high or low off of that, pushing up into target? Okay. And there's your 74 on ES. We probably come up to Russell ADR at that 85.6, honestly, but this is a really good risk off if you're in a position into Globex high, or sorry, Globex low for NQ and POC at 849, and our 74s on ES. Again, all we're looking for now is for buyers to basically show their hand and build this out as buyer acceptance on this selling node. Not much else here. Yo, man. What's up?
What is up?
We
What an
caught the
afternoon.
56.
Huge.
Now I don't know what to do.
Yep. Sounds about right. Sounds about right.
Okay, I'm gonna delete all of this now that it's played out. I'll leave this plan, 'cause this is still has potential. Clean up this drawing. There we go. What range is your volume profile last week, or 4-inch? The one that this is just, I usually only use a daily, but what I have on right here is just the visible range. So it's for whatever candles I'm actually showing on my screen. It's just showing the volume for those specific, whatever's whatever's visible, right? So it gives me a really nice idea of like where volume's transacting on the very, very, very short time frame, and then I use the daily and the weekly for larger pivot levels. But like when I'm just scalping, all I'm doing is watching how these nodes form on the smaller time frame. This is a 15-second chart that I'm on right now. So like this is a really minuscule time frame. And so all we're doing is watching how price builds and then looking at these LVNs and then these nodes that form. And then all I'm doing, this right here is the developing POC. And this is just a daily profile, and this is how the POC, or the point of control, shifts throughout the day. And then I'm just watching that to kind of keep track of where our higher nodes are on the daily profile. That's basically how I trade. And then I just trade node to node on the smaller time frame. Just keep track of like our larger pivots of knowing when I should be putting risk on or taking risk off. Yeah. That's why you'll see me like hand draw nodes, is because I'm so zoomed in that I need to keep track of like where our actual ranges are on higher time frames, or I'm gonna get completely screwed.
Q got that VWAP pop.
Yeah. And this is
So
our
is-
target on ES for me.
What is this? Is this Russell ADR? What is this box? Yeah. No. 85.
There it is. So that's from our drawing that we just did, right, for this move on the node into 78s. Now you're looking to see if we sell here, right, or if we can build here. This is important for me personally. I'd love to see 74s now stay bid, and we now hold basically the mid to the high of this node that I've drawn out for continuation up. If we fail here, right, then we're just transacting back between this 78 and this 68, right? It's like a 10-point range on ES if we fail to break. I'm going to be very careful as we push into ADR on the Russell. Remember, market has only caught steam once the Russell found a low at our pivot at 64s, right? So if the Russell into ADR at 85.6 loses momentum, then we shouldn't really expect much more continuation until the Russell finds that bottom again, if we do sell into this target here, right? If we lose momentum and lose some steam, we might need to come back down first before we get the pop. So we'll see what happens. And again, the key area for me is just watching how we react basically here in this blue box that I just drew. Like either price can build, right? And we hold this buyer from the 74 to like 72. And we can build this out from this target and then bounce, or this will be the high of this range, and then we're looking to basically transact in between here. Just as I drew out, right? Like it's just the high to the low. So this is where you want to really see a bid step in if it's bullish. You don't want sellers sitting at the 74. You want to see this get pushed above.
Treasury
quickly.
10-year yield rises 10 basis points on the day.
Why is he so loud? Jeez. On NQ, you just want it to hold VWAP, man. We're at POC and Globex low, so the only thing that you're really watching for is can this flag here, right? That's it. With a hold of VWAP, we're at target, so you need to see a push over this Globex low at 49s, and then that to become supportive, and then a push over 54s. 54 is your confirmation, 54.50 here at opening range mid. But as long as VWAP is holding, you're fine. Russell still hasn't confirmed. We need to see a bit more momentum, or this is just going to chop. But it's a good sign that we held where we did on ES. But we need to see a bit more follow through, or it's going to be all for naught. Yeah, there you go. So here's your 54.50 test on NQ. You'd like to see this now hold on a rebid.
That's pretty nice on ES. You can trap some people there.
You need to see like a big old push here.
Big retest on Russell here. Structural retest. Is gold still bidding?
No clue.
Oh, I came back. I'm taking a trim in this area. 15 seconds, still new 15s. Microsoft, couple pennies off. Daily high, almost back in the gap. Or in the gap, I should say.
You want to see a bit more acceleration here soon. I don't want us to lose 54s on NQ on a retest. I want to push into 65 like very soon if it's gonna happen.
For dropping here on ES, we need like sweeper to take out. Liquidity's coming off of 77 and down into 75, 76. It's so easy to leave. Okay, there we go. The longer we sit up here, the more likely that larger pullback in this range just makes more sense to me. Yeah, we gotta like clear it.
Yeah, like ASAP.
Yeah, in like a minute, or else this is probably going to be our high for a little bit.
Need this to continue to stay bid, that 54. Or if this flips, then we look for a retest of view up. So again, this blue box on both of these is super important. And we're looking for this previous low at 67. We can hold blue box. If not, look for 49s or 43s on NQ. This is your potential reoffer here, 54 to 56 on NQ. You need sellers to defend this for continuation down. You're looking for buyers to be able to really push this over aggressively and recover 58s, like now, what you're looking at. Or they will hold this lower high. You need to get back over 58. That's kind of your auction right now. Russell still looks fine. ES looks fine, but it's just slow. I don't like slowness into supply. There's your pop.
Oh, we gotta like
Yeah.
clear 77
Yep.
even in this area. It's like it's nothing.
Let's see if we can bid over 58s here. With the Russell still looking fine, I think that this has, like, we're probably going to come to ADR. It's just going to take a bit up into 85.6, and that'll be your real test. Until then, it just feels kind of choppy. Damn, Adam. It's deep.
So this is gonna be kind of like my last attempt to like watch this with this test here. I want to see it bid through. Sellers come in and come slam this back down another point or two. I'll lose a lot of faith.
Yeah.
And 77, want to stay bid. Ultimately on ES, this Globex structure into 80. I think that would put NQ like halfway through this FVG above. I guess it would be the bottom. Also 80. That's a good question, Cass. Yeah, great question. Are you gonna lead it?
What animals do you want to learn, Flex? Exotic frequent, so I don't know if I know any of those.
Like a spider? What do we... What about a mongoose?
Hmm. Yep. Until we get over this Russell ADR, I don't really have a trade. Unless you're like willing to buy that 72 to 74 area that we were talking about on ES, and then play into the 7650 to 7775. Like, there's really not much here. Same for NQ, where you're just trying to play off of this 5450 to 5650, and then you're playing up to 67. But like, I need to see what happens as we approach this 85.6 on the Russell. Just moving a bit too slow. It's the same as for me as like on Friday, where we got the good trades, and now it's just a waiting game because I don't want to be stuck in crap. There's your 67.50 on NQ, by the way. So we'll see what happens now that we've retested previous low. I'd love to see us come up to day open and opening range high. That'd be great. But again, I need to see us over Russell ADR and then show that as acceptance from buy side. The POC shuffle, yeah. Just not great trading. Like, there's a range, but when we are making higher lows but chopping like this, it doesn't feel great being in this kind of trade. Roller coaster. Unless you're in from like a much lower edge. I don't mind on like the higher time frames, but I need to see a bit more of a bounce. Like I don't. The ES 15 minute has a pretty nice node if we can find support here into this 80. But again, like, we need to see a look into this 80 area and then kind of a hold of that and then a push off. And then we can probably come up to like 84 and then, or like 88. But until then, there's like not much here, you know?
This is very similar to last Tuesday, guys, where like when we looked at the end of the day and it's like, wow, every level played perfectly. But we knew that like intraday it was much more messy. So I'm saying that because this will be a good time to really focus on the smaller structure, the order flow, volume, etc. to get a feel for it.
like just as an example, like this is our 30-minute chart. Right, like we're building a really nice node here, but we need to get a bit of acceptance in this like 70 to 75 area, or it's, let me switch over for those that aren't in Discord chat. Guide all. Right, like we're doing the thing where we're building this out, but we're back to the top of this range. So I need to see basically this, again, like the 72 to 70 area with like 75 ideally being the hold. But just on this push above, we're now at the high of this balance, right? Like we're looking at, oh my god. We're looking at this as our node where we transacted to the low, and now we're back up to the high. And now we're basically looking for like the mid to high to hold for a push and continuation up. For me, that's what I'm waiting for. Because until then, like, we just hit Russell ADR and immediately sold. So if like NQ breaks and the Russell can't hold higher lows, then like this is it for me. This is why I'm not in a long position anymore. There's too much potential here until I see us recover ADR on the Russell for me to want to stay in a long position. You really want to see buyers defend this 49 on NQ. This is POC and Globex low. This 49 to 43, like, this is it. This is where you want to see buyers try to step in, especially as we come back down on ES into our blue box. All you're waiting for real confirmation is the Russell to find a low here off of the ADR rejection. We're getting our bounce at that 49, but we need to get back over that 54.50 on NQ. This is going to be this trade that I drew out, where you're looking to see if this is now your seller reoffer on a push below. Let me just redraw this shit.
Microsoft is really tight here. Keep an eye on NQ into VWAP here. I'd like to see ES under 72. I like value high VWAP. Look for buyers. Order book wise, I'm looking for anyone who's still sitting 77, 78 to pull and then come over spread and get a little more anxious. They're still sitting up there, and obviously sellers were, in terms of size, were much more eager in that area, which makes sense, but
What's up, HPY?
if they will
Welcome.
not pull, we might just oscillate here.
Yeah, you need to see a really strong reoffer here into 49.50 on NQ for a push down to VWAP. That'd be nice for liquidity. If not, then just, again, like Russell's just sideways right here that's trying to find a bid. But I need to see it back over 83 for me to care. Yes, still finding buyers here at the 74. To me, the Russell just looks like it needs to come down to like here. What did George just post? Ooh.
30 seconds, new 15s.
Shortly expecting the results from the Fed reverse repo facility. So seeing here 84 counterparties taking $815.847 billion at the Fed's reverse repo operation. So again, a small audience today of 84 counterparties taking $815.847 billion at the Fed's reverse repo operation.
We're 57.40. Go look. Spy.
Apple is able to hold VWAP here, and Microsoft is holding daily open highs. It's very hard to have a directional read here in this area for me. It'll be a bit, Cass. We'll see when the liquidity switches over.
This guy. It's funny. Why 457.40? Such a weird price. The stream just died? Hello? Stream suspended for policy violations.
What?
Dude, what'd you guys do? Nah, music isn't a problem. They just muted at the end, and then I have to do sharing, revenue sharing. Let me check. What does that even mean, though?
I'm sure you got an email, or you will get an email. A 0 tick here, guys.
Is it, if you refresh, is it still gone?
Yeah, it's gone.
What? Okay, well, let me reload.